we've all had to do it at some point in our lives. We've had to sell a gun. Sometimes you have to choose which one it is you're going to let go of. Sometimes you make the decision based on practicality. Sometimes it's purely a matter of cost. Maybe you need to buy the cat a new kidney, or perhaps you just want to get another gun that you can't quite afford. And that got me wondering about what guns I've sold in the past that I regret selling the most. There are 5 that came to mind. First was my 5-inch Smith & Wesson Model 27. That was probably the finest revolver I had ever had until I got my Python. And as much as I love my Python, I really do miss that Model 27. I've considered buying another one, but the things are well north of $1,000 now, and since I do have the Python, I just can't justify a second expensive .357. Not that a man should ever have to justify such a thing, but there you go. The next one was the Colt Gold Cup. I didn't have that gun very long, but it was the sweetest shooting .45 I have ever held. But I needed the money for something else, and so it went the way of the dodo in my collection. Speaking of .45s, the next one is my old Mark IV Series 70 .45 automatic. Now, I bought this gun brand new and had it throated and polished, and it worked like a Swiss watch. From a practical standpoint, it was the finest .45 automatic I've ever had. Accurate and reliable, and far more practical as a carry gun than something like the Gold Cup, which is really just a target gun. Surprisingly enough, another gun to make the list is my old Smith & Wesson Model 640-38 with the straight little wooden stocks on it. I bought this gun brand new back in the 90s, and I carried it as my pocket gun for over a decade. I absolutely found it to be one of the finest little revolvers I'd ever had. Sure, it's a short barrel .38, it bucks a lot when you shoot it, but I had an in-the-pocket holster and it slid in and out without any argument. It was just a handy, nifty little gun, and I really do miss it. Again, I've considered buying a replacement, but like the Model 27, those things have gotten outrageously expensive. Finally is my old beat-up military surplus M1 Garand. I only paid $300 for that rifle with a bunch of pre-clipped Dutch ammunition back in the 1990s, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. But again, money got tight and it had to go. Although not a practical rifle by modern standards, it was a hoot to shoot. I regularly shot the thing at 300 yards and enjoyed it. And as old and beat up as it was still extremely accurate. It was certainly capable of more accuracy than I was. Ironically, that old gun is worth about $1,000 today from what I've seen on Gunbroker. So in the end, which one do I miss the most? Well, it's hard to say. The Gold Cup was just a target gun, and the M1 wasn't a very practical gun, so that leaves us with the other 3. And the Mark IV Series 70 was the nicest .45 I've ever had. But ironically, of all of them, it was the little Smith 640 that I carried with me all the time. From a practical standpoint, I got more actual utilization out of it than I did any of the other guns. It's really hard to decide which one I regret selling most. But for lack of a better choice, I'm probably going to say the 640. Well, there you have my list. We've all had to sell a gun at some point. What's the gun you most regret having to sell?